be speaking with me, Tarun Nangia. Today is a very, very special show. This is for, in a sense, looking back at the tenure of Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, and also anecdotes and memories from those times. And of course, we all wish him well for a career in arbitration, or a second career, as we say, which he's going to embark. And from what we hear, it's going to be a very successful one too. But today is the time that we celebrate his tenure as a judge, which had a lot of pro-liberty judgment, pro-bail judgments, which is something that we must rejoice and celebrate, because liberty is also the cornerstone, one of the most important cornerstones of this democracy that we cherish, that the principles of liberty. But it's more through his judgments that we got to know more of it. We learned, and these principles were celebrated. I have a very interesting panel today that will bring forth all these points, the judgments, anecdotes, also some other unknown things about him that also would be spoken today on the show. May I welcome Advocate Saket Sikri. He practices at the Delhi High Court and the Supreme Court of India. He's a regular feature on this show. Good to see you, Saket, and looking forward to some interesting insights. I have with me Advocate Manmeet Singh. He's partnered with Saraf and Partners, one of India's leading law firms and the fastest growing ones. Good to see you, Manmeet, and looking forward to some interesting insights from you as well. I have with me Radhika Vishwajit Dubey. She's an advocate practicing at the Delhi High Court and Supreme Court. She joins us on Legally Speaking for the first time. Good to see you, Radhika, and looking for some interesting insights from you as well. At the outset, let's begin with a round of opening comments. Over to Advocate Saket Sikri. Say in about the next 2-3 minutes, I know you've known Justice Kaul even much before he became a judge, maybe even from your childhood. So you would be able to give us much more interesting insights on this. Over to you, Saket.
Thanks, Tarun, for having me on the show. You know, it's I can't believe 22 and a half years have gone by, and I remember the day when Justice Kaul was sworn in as a judge. And it's hard to believe that this time has flown, and he's nearing his retirement. And as you rightly said, looking forward to a third inning, I would say, because first inning was at the council as a senior advocate, then as a judge, and a very eminent judge. And now we all look forward to him as the arbitration bar, and I'm sure my colleagues on the show are eagerly waiting for him to come to this side where we can further address him as an arbitrator. But my first memories of Justice Kaul goes back to, I think, even before, as you rightly said, even before he was a senior advocate, leave alone a judge. This is sometime year 2000. I was, I think, second year in the law school when I came to the Delhi High Court, and Justice Kaul then, if I remember correctly, was not even a designated, I mean, he was about to be designated, but he was not a designated senior advocate at that time. And he was arguing in Court 5 or Court 7 of the Delhi High Court in the old building, which still it is. And he left an impact on me, the way he addressed. And as a law student, I literally walked up to him and, introduced myself. And soon thereafter, he became a designated senior advocate, and then his name went for judgeship. And I still remember, again, another small episode, just before Justice Kaul was sworn in as a judge. I believe he was going, and I met him with some lawyer who I was interning with at that time, in the parking lot of the Delhi High Court, where he was just being driven. I believe he had a car, red color Opel Astra. That's the car he had that time, if I'm not wrong. So he was being driven to some place, and he said, I think from tomorrow I have to stop appearing. I'm just going and doing my last arbitration. And that was the last time I saw him as a counsel. And obviously after that, he was sworn in. And even when Justice Kaul was sworn in, he was made to sit. And that's a very interesting thing. It's a proud moment. It would have been a proud moment for Justice Kaul, and also for then Justice Arun Kumar, because Justice Kaul started his practice with Justice Arun Kumar. He started his practice in the chambers of Justice Arun Kumar. So when he became a judge, Justice Arun Kumar was a very senior judge. He was heading a division bench in the High Court. Justice Arun Kumar, of course, then went up to the Supreme Court. We all know that. And then Justice Kaul was made to sit in a division bench with Justice Arun Kumar. So, what a proud moment for a junior, where he starts a career as a lawyer with a very eminent senior of its time, Justice Arun Kumar, to actually start his judicial career also with him. So, and throughout, we have seen the way Justice Kaul has been. Immediately upon becoming a judge, he was initially with in the division bench with Justice Arun Kumar, and then subsequently, around 2004, when I actually became a lawyer, he was sitting doing writs as a single judge. And we used to appear as absolute freshers out of the law school. We used to appear as very, very young, newly born counsels in the court. And it was a moment of delight and pleasure when we were appearing before Justice Kaul, because he would never make us feel that you've just come out of the law school and you don't know the basics. So obviously, many times we didn't know the basics. He would fill in up for us. If there's a counsel who's seeking a passover, and if Justice Kaul knows that he has to issue a notice or whatever, any effective order has to be passed, he would actually tell the lawyer, the junior counsel. He's done it with me also. That this is what the line you're doing. This is what you're trying to say. A fabulous judge, a fabulous human being. Of course, then his career as a single judge and as a senior judge of the Delhi High Court is well known. Of course, his judgments on bail and liberty is what you just pointed out, which came up in the Supreme Court. But we can't forget his judgment on M.F. Hussain way back in 2008. In the Delhi High Court, when he gave passed that famous judgment on liberty or freedom of expression of an artist, etc., and how he was protected, M.F. Hussain. We all know that. So no, whatever you may say is less for a man like Justice Kaul, who's achieved so much in life. One thing I remember, again, a very interesting episode. His last matter in the Delhi High Court, when he was in Court 2, I appeared. And when he was about to go as a Chief Justice in Punjab Haryana High Court in 2013, he was presiding a division bench, and I was it was my last matter, or one but last matter, when his lordship rose and then to go and take over. And interestingly, the last matter on Thursday, that is the 14th of December, it was item 35 in the Honorable Supreme Court where I appeared. So, these are my opening memories of Justice Kaul. There are a lot more to discuss, and I'm sure my colleagues will add to it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the insights about the man himself. I'll go to Advocate Manmeet Singh, partner with Saraf and Partners. Manmeet, as we know, you're proud because Justice Kaul is your schoolmate. You both graduated, you both passed out from the same school. Knowing that as a fact, could you share an opening comment about Justice Kaul?
Yeah, so Justice Kaul has been very deeply involved with the Old Students Association all these years. He has also been the chairman of Modernites Trust, where the trust has been supporting more than 35 students through the school, and not just the school education part of it, but the other expenses. So he's been at the forefront of not just the Old Students Association, but also a lot of charitable work, a lot of philanthropic work as part of his tenure of being the chairman of Modernites Trust, as well as otherwise. And he's been a very generous host as well for several alumni dinners. So he's a very, very generous, large-hearted person, and very closely involved with, as a judge, judges we know are always short of time, but he has always made the time available to be involved with a lot of activities of the Alumni Association. And I think the Alumni Association over the years has been very, very grateful to him for all his time and the effort that he has put in to make sure that it remains a close-knit community. The association remains a close-knit community. So it just goes to show how generous he has been and how large-hearted he has been. And as a judge, of course, I think he represents that rare judge who was comfortable with all forms of jurisprudence, be it constitutional, be it criminal, be it commercial. We all know his judgments on civil liberties and fundamental rights, but even on the arbitration side, he has written a lot of important judgments, with the most recent one being on unstamped agreements. So he was one of those who was equally comfortable with all kinds of jurisprudence. And I think as he post his retirement embarks on a career as an arbitrator, the fraternity looks forward to having him as an arbitrator. I think he'll have an extremely successful tenure. We'll all be very lucky to be able to before him.
Okay, point well taken. I Thank you, Manmeet, for sharing your insights into how Justice Kaul has shown an active involvement in the school, which is, I think, very appreciated. And somebody who's successful remains in touch with his roots, which is his school mainly. That is well appreciated always. I have with me Advocate Radhika Vishwajit Dubey. Radhika is someone for any lawyer, the initial years after graduation are very memorable. The first case and also the training period. She was lucky enough to have clerked or done a clerkship with Justice Kaul. And indeed, those would be really memorable years. Knowing that as a fact, Radhika, if you could share your in opening comment.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me on your show and giving me an opportunity to, celebrate Sir's remarkable journey. I feel, no words can do justice to express what imprint he has left on my life. Through my 16 years of practice, I've met and worked with, several people I truly respect and admire, but then none like my Sir. Now, how does, one describe Justice Kaul? I was thinking, and I think I would say he's like a star seed of our legal fraternity, who illuminated the dark corners of our legal system. A man with an unwavering commitment to justice, a man true to his word, full of humility, with an unmatched judicial temperament, as we all know. He's been a people's judge, a very good listener, completely detached, definitely blessed with a photographic memory, and persistent to the extent of being unmoved. But above all, I feel he's humane. People who've worked at close quarters with him would vouch for it, that the kind of attention he paid towards the growth and development of the ones around him was unparalleled. One way to describe him would be a hard taskmaster with infectious energy. Over these years, he has played different roles in my life, of a boss, of a guru, a mentor, a friend, I could always sort of turn to, who always made time for me. Even after I moved to Dubai, after, my 1.5 tenure with him, he would keep, checking on me. That's Sir for me. Until, I met Sir, I always wondered who's a better judge. A judge who pens good judgments, or the one, who cuts the chase and is focused on disposal. While, of course, he spoke through his remarkable judgments we all are aware of, he, laid equal emphasis on case management, keeping a very, very close eye on disposal of matters. I must share this. One of the gifts he gave to Delhi High Court was keeping, Thursdays as final hearing days, when fresh matters would not get listed unless really, really urgent. That was something that was his decision. He, I feel, has the vision, the wisdom, the far-sightedness of dealing with matters, the kind of pragmatic approach, with the kind of commercial acumen to, just see through things and get the pulse of the matter was just amazing. To be it, matrimonial cases, or be it, commercial cases, he just knew that this is now the pulse and this is where I have to hit. I will never forget, his get the monkey off your back approach, which he almost applied to all his roles. His ability to find those diamonds in the rough, nurturing them, trusting them, giving them complete independence while delegating tasks, standing by them, appreciating and acknowledging them, is what I feel makes really stand out. He knows how to, take people along with him. My experience while assisting Sir, in writing judgments, orders as his law clerk was a delight also because, of his openness to hear others' views, which where, he need not necessarily agree, which may not match with his. allowing others to, express their thoughts fearlessly. Though it's a separate discussion, that then, he would be determined to convince you to see the other side. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that, with his stature, he didn't have to necessarily do that. But, that's his grace. He was interested in seeing your growth. He was interested in you as a person. Yeah, that would be my opinion.
Thank you, Radhika, for that opening comment. I'll go to Saket Sikri. Saket, you spend a lot of time arguing matters in Supreme Court and Delhi High Court, and I know how important it is to get a pro-liberty view from a judge when you are, arguing a hotly contested bail matter. But when you have a judge who can see or is libertarian, he values and cherishes the values of liberty, like Justice Kaul has done. And I know on this show you also have cited his judgments time and again. Knowing that as a fact, could you delve and comment on that attribute of his personality that was seen via his utterances in court when he spoke and his judgments?
See, as a counsel, what you want is a judge like Justice Kaul to hear you. Because if a person and a judge like Justice Kaul would not grant a relief, it is unlikely that you'll get that relief with great respect, from perhaps any other bench, because his, as Radhika rightly put it, his intent, he would get the pulse of the matter the moment you start. And he'll cut the chase and come to the point immediately. So this was the delight whenever we used to appear before Justice Kaul, where be it a commercial matter, be it a liberty issue of a bail or an anticipatory bail. On the criminal side, as a single judge, when he started in the Delhi High Court, he was loved by the bar. What is a lawyer's delight? What is a lawyer's wish list? A good judge who will at least hear him. And if there is a chance of getting some relief, be it in a bail, be it in a quashing, revision, etc. If you can get it, at least a fair chance of getting one. So Justice Kaul obviously gave every lawyer that fair chance. So he was a darling at the bar when he was on the criminal side of the Delhi High Court. And that continued when he became a senior judge in the High Court, when he even went as a Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court. I mean, he was there for, I believe, nearly about an year. But he was a darling of the High Court. From all the colleagues at the bar in Punjab and Haryana High Court, they were in love with Justice Kaul. Everybody wanted matters to be heard and disposed of by that bench, because it was, again, as I said, it was delight for everyone to sort of address him. And, when he retired, when he was going to Madras High Court from there, there were videos, because by then we had WhatsApps, etc. There were videos doing the rounds on WhatsApp group about the number of people that sort of turned up to just see their Chief Justice go to another court. And the same thing continued in Punjab, in Madras. In fact, Madras High Court, as we all know, although I don't have much personal experience, but whatever I've heard about the Madras High Court, it's one of the toughest courts to be a judge, and leave alone Chief Justice. And even in a court like that, Justice Kaul was loved. In fact, if I'm not wrong, he was called Kaul there. So Justice Kaul was loved. And even I used to meet some lawyers who would come down from Madras to Delhi, and they would ask me, how's Justice Kaul here? So, till date, people remember him as one judge who brought the court together. And then, of course, in the Supreme Court, we all know how it was. Apart from that, if we just go back to his contributions in the Delhi High Court, one of the greatest contributions in the Delhi High Court, apart from his judgments, have also been, he was one of the founding fathers of the mediation center of the Delhi High Court. He, along with some other judges in the Delhi High Court, actually founded this whole concept of mediation, realizing that how important it is in various matters, because Delhi High Court also has an original side. Now, in original side, you had suits, and most of those suits were between members of the same family fighting for the estate of their fathers or whatever, family estates. or they were matters concerning matrimonial disputes. So it was realized initially that these matters are best settled, because otherwise one generation has earned money. This was always used to say that one generation has earned money to make the property and the other generation is losing that money only to retain that property. By the end of it, none of them will end up enjoying the property. So he was the one who started the concept of mediation. Justice Kaul was also instrumental behind the Delhi High Court, amongst, I think it was Justice A.P. Shah, that time the Chief Justice, to start the Delhi High Court Arbitration Center, the famous DIAC as we have it today. So, he was also one of the founders of that. So there's enough contribution Justice Kaul has had, apart from the judicial contribution, which we all know. These are other contributions that today Delhi High Court is proud of. We have the best mediation center in the Delhi High Court. The Supreme Court, in various matters and disputes, has referred a lot of matters to mediate in the Delhi High Court Mediation Center. Similarly, the DIAC, and both my colleagues here on the show will agree, since both of them do a lot of arbitrations, DIAC is one of the busiest arbitration centers in the country. It has the number of arbitrators it has on its panel and the number of arbitrations it has. It's I don't think any other arbitration center in the country will be able to match that number. Then when he went to Punjab Haryana High Court, the pendency went down. Some of the youngsters were pushed. There were designations of senior advocates of a lot of youngsters, perhaps people in their early 40s. Similar trend continued in Punjab, in Madras, and in the Supreme Court. We have seen how it is, and now I think all of us are eagerly waiting for him to come to this side after the 25th or the 26th of December, where we can all go to Justice Kaul and request him to take up our assignments as an arbitrator or give us some opinions. And yes, I would wish him the best. I remember the last day of Justice Kaul in the Supreme Court. Sitting in the courtroom, almost everybody had tears in his eyes, including me. There were so many people who came up and spoke so well about him. Start from the senior most members of the bar to the Attorney General to the top lawyers like Mr. Salve, Mr. Tripathi, Mr. Rodgi. There were younger members of the bar who came up and thanked him on behalf of the younger bar to sort of never let anyone down, give us the kind of opportunity he always gave to a young lawyer to argue. So there were each one of them. There were some Kashmiri lawyers who came and addressed in Kashmiri. And everyone, it was overwhelming. The entire crowd. There was no place to stand. I had to sit outside the court and get into a VC to see what's happening, because one could not just get in. So that is the popularity of the man. He's left a legacy, only to start another career, another round. And we wish him luck and look forward to him on this side.
Thank you for sharing that detailed comment. I go to Advocate Manmeet Singh, partners, Saraf and partners, on to speak on what you call the pro-liberty approach, or how he cherished these ideals, which we could see through his judgments. And I say it and emphasize this only for a reason, because we look at how troubled people are when they are in jail and they come all the way to the Supreme Court, and God forbid, if bail is denied, what their family goes through, what their businesses go through, what many dependents on those businesses, the employees go through. Many times salaries are not paid. So, it could vary for different people, but what is a simple case is actually a lifetime and a lifeline for many people. It could be just another case in the court that day. So a judge with the heart is what we all look forward to. And that's why we should cherish our judges, and that's why we do this show today. And that is why, if you could explain that how he lived these ideals through his judgments.
So Tarun, you're absolutely right. His contribution to pro-liberty judgments is unparalleled. If you look at Satyendra Antil's case, where he laid down directions for bail matters, that was path-breaking. He has recognized right to privacy as part of Article 21. He wrote the dissent in the civil union matter. Then he was at the forefront of another path-breaking judgment given by Supreme Court, where he permitted women to be inducted into NDA. So if you look at the conspectus of judgments that he has written, I think one of his legacies will be the wide-ranging aspects which he has covered within Article 21, and in particular, I would say liberty, because bail and making sure that detention was not unnecessarily, the process did not become the punishment. I think that was his focus. Even as chairman of the National Legal Services Authority, there was a project which he initiated to identify under trial who could be freed on bail. So that was also taken up under his chairmanship. So I think, yes, pro-liberty and Article 21 in particular, that's his legacy. But I, at the same time, go back to the point that I made initially. One should look at him as a judge who was equally comfortable, and including commercial matters. I think that is very important because, there are judges who are very good with the writ jurisdiction, who are very good with fundamental rights. But perhaps, he is one of those exceptions who was equally comfortable with everything. So I think that's the rare quality he possessed as a judge, that, and also it was a reflection of the practice he had at Delhi High Court, which was quite wide-ranging.
Okay. Fine.
Just adds to what Manmeet said. One second, he put it beautifully. You make Justice Kaul sit in any jurisdiction, and he'll be phenomenal. From criminal to commercial to rates to tax. That was the beauty of this judge. Back to you, sir.
Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that anecdote. Now I go to Advocate Radhika Vishwajit Dubey. Radhika, what happens when in the course of doing this show, once I was taught by a wise man that judges are not looking at files, they are looking at lifelines and people with real lives. So what is another file is actually a life in his hands every day on which he adjudicates. And when a judge can have a healing touch, or a judge can look that what all can go on into a person's life, and if the law permits, why not, veer on the side of liberty. That is what we could see in Justice Kaul. Of course, you would know it much better than us, having worked with him in that sense. But if you could reflect on his attitude at looking things from a perspective that he alone did.
Sure. So just, sharing my thought here, I saw 3 rosters with him. I joined him as when he was the judge in charge, original side, Delhi High Court. Then he moved to the criminal side and then to the service roster. So, when his roster changed to the criminal side, he was skeptical. But then, he gave one of his finest judgments while sitting in that roster. His court was famously called as the bail court. He truly believed in the personal liberty, that it must be sort of protected and preserved at all costs. I've had some varied discussions with him on this topic, and he truly believes in it. That's really Justice Kaul, I would say, always sort of rising above the challenge and, scaling up greater heights. Through my tenure with him, as his law clerk, and our deliberations over matters and issues, one thing, which consistently fell from him was, that people must have the tolerance to others' opinions. This thought, always stuck with me. And no wonder, he's considered as the torchbearer of freedom of speech and expression, which, all of us can all see through his judgments, be it M.F. Hussain or the Murugan judgment. I think his quality of independent thinking and his invaluable contribution towards independent individual liberty has been a gift to the Indian judiciary. The words, whatever has been, the future is ours to see. The art of humanity and inclusiveness should be central to the process to enable, forgiveness for the wounds of the past. You see, a master at the choice of words. His love for writing can be seen through his judgments. I also feel that the conviction in his writing comes from his living by these beliefs. He, according to me, is a true champion, advocating civil liberties. I feel Sir's judgments, with his far-sightedness, are an honest endeavor to create a fair and progressive Bharat, if I may say, be it his decision in the same-sex unions or others. I also feel, it does not really matter how many number of years, awards, wealth, followers one has amassed, which is actually true in Sir's case. He's been a very, very popular judge. But, also the number of faces he's brought smile through to. Through his judgment, giving equal status to women with their male counterparts in Army and Air Force, he echoed the sentiment that women are strong. What was needed was the change in, way we perceive their strength. Through this judgment, he inspired women, I feel, and generations on to dream more, learn more, become more, and of course, he laid stress on the reformation of those, who've fallen out of law. We discussed that. So I feel one can easily say that in the pursuit of justice, Sir's name would be etched in history. Another important facet I would like to discuss with all of you here is his time management, and the way he kept everything organized. Also, while sitting in court, he maintained the perfect balance of, keeping the overall atmosphere light while preserving the decorum of the court. Just by observing him from a distance, or when, he was holding court, there was so much for me to learn. I felt each day I was growing as a professional, as a person. I still remember this one thing I like to share. The courts were closing for summer break, and he asked me, "So where are you off to?" And I replied, "Nowhere, sir. I'm here." And I thought, he's going to be happy hearing my reply since he was my boss, And he says, no, you must take a break. It's important for our profession, else you will burn yourself out. So, as a person just out of law school, this conversation was such a pleasant surprise, because he was insistent that I traveled and I made time for my hobbies. And here today in this atmosphere where we talk of, work-life balance, and paying importance to mental health, he was one person who actually followed it, implemented it, and he made sure that others around also did that. While I must say that he's a workaholic by nature, but he ensured that his Friday evenings he spent playing golf. I really hope that he can now go back to his game like old times, because off late I think he wasn't getting enough time to do that. Also, another thing, as my friends here mentioned, he's a rare combination of excellence, I think, both on the judicial side and administrative side. As Saket mentioned, he had played a protagonist in giving life to mediation, as we all see today. And of course, his contribution to NALSA as the executive chairperson has been outstanding. He's just given us, in fact, India its first regional conference on access to legal aid and strengthening, access to justice in the global south, where all the chief justices from the global south were called and made to discuss some very important issues. So it's been path-breaking in that sense. One thing I also feel, because I was, I had discussions with him when he was made the Chief Justice of the Punjab, Haryana, and then Madras, High Court. Institutions do not survive unless there are individuals who really care deeply about it and, are willing to make efforts to keep it thriving. I feel, with his Midas touch as the Chief Justice of the Punjab Haryana High Court or the Madras High Court, he really turned the tides, which is a testament of, how institutions can be run efficiently if they are under the right leadership, howsoever the circumstances be. And we are all aware that Madras wasn't easy, but he really turned that place around. He is a man who kept the interest, I think, of the institution always ahead of and above everything else. I personally feel that he's left footprints wherever he has traveled, and left fingerprints on many hearts he touched. Definitely he's left a legacy. I think it's for me it's like an end of a golden era.
And the start of a third career, as Saket put it.
Absolutely.
A fine commercial mind. The next 20-30 years would be in arbitration, where we will get to hear him on various arbitral events and gatherings that happen. And also, of course, he will be busy adjudicating, and if, as Radhika says, getting some time on weekends to play golf too and not miss that. I appreciate that Advocate Saket Sikri, Advocate Manmeet Singh, partner Saraf and Partners, Advocate Radhika Bishwajit Dubey, you all could make time, join us and celebrate what the end of one chapter and the start of the next one of Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul. Appreciate your joining us. Thank you so very much.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.